Episode 17.
Master says, episode 17, time to leave. Already in progress.
I just came in at the end there. I thought, I didn't know they made a Star Wars edition. Was that like $10,000 or?
It was a little bit more than what you'd pay for a similar computer, but it does have a lot of banners and screensavers and stuff. Plus, it's got some badging on it that's First Order and Stormtroopers. And
now, is all the text or the fonts and everything in that Imperial style that you see on all the displays in the movie?
Okay, so it can be.
Are we recording?
Yeah, actually.
Okay.
It can be, but it gets really annoying because you don't read Times New Roman and you try to read in that Empire font. It gets really, really bad.
Use the font, Luke.
So, hey.
Well, good evening. Or it feels like it's daytime because it's finally daylight out at 5-something in the afternoon.
Usually it's
another few hours, up for another few days.
Yeah, you're right. It's bright out still. This is weird for our recordings this winter. Okay. All right. Well, good night, everybody. Thanks for coming.
I want to introduce our special guest star tonight. This is Matt. Do you prefer Matt or Matthew?
Depends on if you're a vendor or not and trying to sell me something. I mean, you call me Matthew if you're trying to sell me something. But I prefer Matt.
Yeah, thought so.
Well, we're trying to sell you something.
This is Matt Pedersen.
What do you have for sale? Oh, anyway, no, that doesn't sound very good.
This is terrible.
Matt, yeah, we're off to a terrible start. Matt is John's brother-in-law, and
correct.
And actually, I went to South Dakota State University, the other SDSU, with Matt. At the same time, there was an overlap there at some point. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? The elevator speech, as they say, or whatever they might say. Who are you? Why are you?
I, like you said, went to South Dakota State like my father and my father before me.
Oh.
Make my home in Worthington, Minnesota right now, working as a microbiologist for a animal health vaccine manufacturer. Been in the industry for 25 years. I know nothing else. Like you said, I've had brushes with you guys for 30 some odd years now, it seems. So,
well, we brush people the wrong way sometimes.
We always liked you in school. My clique of friends that never interacted with you because of you're kind of a theater guy. And
you almost said geek, didn't you?
Yeah, you caught yourself.
So we would always go, "Hey, look at that guy."
Yeah, well, I was entertaining. Well, and for a while we were in the same choral group, the Statesmen. I think I was only in that 1 year, though.
I was in for 5.5 the entire time that I was at South Dakota State, and they got their start in the 50s. When and my dad was a part of the first group of statesmen, so I felt like I was
cool.
Had to be in there for the entire time. So it was very enjoyable to me. And again, you were a bass sitting next to a roommate of mine, Tom Brandenberger, most of the time.
I remember
the Statesmen.
Yeah, yes. The Statesmen were kind of it was the all male choral group at SDSU. The female group was the Pasquettes. Is that right?
Yeah, Pasturettes, I think we called them occasionally. But
what with the real name? What is that referring to?
The state flower of South Dakota.
Wow, I didn't know that.
What?
That's terrible.
Oh, John.
I failed that one, apparently.
Well, hopefully the narrator, Ralph Nader will come in here and talk to us about...
that sounds horrible, too, yeah.
Talk to us about seatbelts. I guess I need to apologize in advance. I'm already on my second Manhattan, so this is not going to... Okay, whatever. Yeah, and then there was the concert choir, and then there were different sort of, I don't know, iterations of choir. When I first started college, I was trying to figure out if I wanted to be a music major or a theater major, but for some reason, I'm not going to say the theater major sounded like less work, but maybe that was it. I'm not a microbiologist by any means. My goodness, I do wash my hands though.
I was just thinking about that today, how I was using some antiseptic stuff and not actually washing my hands after I was getting done, and thinking I should probably use more soap.
I think that's the title for this episode, John.
Wow. So are these choral groups? Do they still have their same names? Do you guys know?
The Statesmen do. I don't know if the Pasquettes do.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know why they would change it.
At least it wasn't the Lady Statesman, right?
Oh, I remember I had to buy a blue blazer. I had to go somewhere downtown, Brookings, and pick up my special blazer, and I got a pin. And I remember one tour or something we had like a double-decker bus, and I thought this is pretty cool. I think the Statesmen were sort of the, I don't want to say party choir of SDSU, but definitely had more fun than the concert choir.
We didn't take it as seriously as the concert choir because there was some overlap with the concert choir boys that were in there, and I think they cut loose while they were in the Statesmen as well. But we were just in it for 2 hours a week for one credit. We didn't have a lot of time to work, and then we just had the several concerts. And like you said, I think we went on tour a couple times and even stopped in my hometown once. So I was like king shit then.
That was during Dr. Keenan's tour of duty at SDSU for conductors.
Yes, I liked him a lot. I thought the world of him.
He was a good guy.
The first choral instructor I could feel I really could get behind and enjoy singing.
Oh, he was a good guy. There was one year when I was there was a conflict between theater and choir one semester where South Dakota State University was putting on this South Dakota Proud thing that was touring the whole state and was going to take a whole semester. And Dr. Kanan for the concert choir liked to have people there commit to a whole year, which we couldn't then that year because of the semester thing would be gone. So he was like, well, if you do that, you can't be back the next semester or something like that. And I don't know. It ended up working out, and he ended up actually conducting some things for the theater. So, but for a while there, it was a little rough trying to bridge the theater choral divide, as it were.
Now you guys took the double-decker bus.
That was a cool bus.
Was that the super fancy one?
I don't know. It didn't have an open bar though.
No, I suppose. I believe one of the all-state trips I did, we took that same bus. It was a Jackrabbit Lines. And I think it had the expression, the executive Hare, on the side of it.
Right. I don't know. This was a cool bus.
That was pretty exciting. I think we were supposed to have a bus, but there weren't enough of us going that year to fill up a conventional, 50 passenger or whatever they normally are.
What was the name of that made-for-TV movie, the super bus?
The Big Bus. That was one of my dad's favorite bad movies to watch.
Oh, really?
It was not a TV movie.
It wasn't.
It was actually, I think, a
TV series.
I thought it was a regular.
The Big Bus stars Joseph Bologna, or Bologna as they would say in South Dakota. Stockard Channing, John Beck, Ned Beatty, Ruth Gordon, Harold Gould, Larry Hagler, Sally Kellerman, Richard Mulligan, Lynn Redgrave, etc.
Larry Hagman.
Regular. It was the thing that's interesting about the Big Bus is
I love that. I love that.
Yeah, Google it or something. But it predates the Airplane movie by a couple of years. But it's
really?
Almost like a warm-up round for the Airplane.
Oh, definitely.
Movie.
No,
because it definitely
it
was a tongue-in-cheek disaster kind of a thing.
I associated it with the same time frame, but
Yeah, because the plot of it is it's a cross-country nuclear-powered bus.
And it had a pool, and I don't know.
Yeah, it had a pool and all that stuff, and it required 2 drivers.
Did you ever see that, Mark? Matt?
Cut that out, Jesus.
No, I'll leave that one. I'm going to call Matt various names tonight.
I've never heard of it. I'm very intrigued. I hope it's on like Amazon or Netflix because
I have a hell of a time finding it. It was on DVD at some point, and
it's not. It's probably not very good.
I gotta find it just because it's one of those
nostalgic
movies that
things.
nostalgic favorites.
No, yeah. I remember getting a kick out of it, but it's probably terrible. I was like, what,
I'm
6
sure
or something.
The co-driver's nickname was Shoulders because he drove on the shoulder. Terrible movie. It's like the jokes aren't quite as good as what's the guy named the Zucker brothers who made.
They weren't involved in this.
Airplane. No, but it was again. It was the first disaster movie spoof.
Hey, it laid the groundwork for it, though.
Yeah, and it was right at the tail end of the serious disaster movie run, I think. So it was time.
So Marvin, I'm sorry, Matt. Did you go to graduate school then also at SDSU?
No, I just have bachelor's, 5.5 years. I started out in electrical engineering, and by the time I made it to microbiology, not a lot of those credits were transfer
You had to
worthy.
kind of start over.
Kind of just took it easy those for a couple semesters as well, just barely staying full time working at Hy-Vee.
So Matt, there was some sort of restaurant you talked about in comments. Oh wait, sorry. We should talk about what we're drinking.
Yeah, what are you drinking tonight, Phil?
No, don't start with me. No, I'm having
spoiler.
a wild turkey bonded Manhattan. And
Wild turkey bonded.
I think that's what it is. I don't know. It had a turkey on it.
Oh, is it the 101?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, maybe that's not bonded. What is it?
I don't think Wild Turkey 101 is a bonded whiskey. It is 100 proof.
You're right.
Like
it's not.
Is.
Never mind.
So I am drinking Witherspoon Texas Bourbon.
Oh.
Which is another thing I brought back from Dallas. And it's also 100 proof, just coincidentally.
Oh, good. You need to catch up.
It's a nice bourbon. It has a super strong vanilla note on the smell.
And the taste?
The taste is kind of
what do they call it? the palate?
It's actually not very sweet.
Oh,
has more of a rye characteristic to it.
That's nice.
It's a little bit of it's got a bit of an edge to it. It's not as smooth and as sweet as like Eagle Rare is, for example. But it's different. I like it.
Well, hopefully Matt isn't drinking kombucha.
No, I had this whole speech ready for it's a school night and why are you guys drinking? And then I decided that, I better join you. So I'm having what I'm calling a Canadian Mule, which is Crown, Diet Ginger Beer, Lime, and in a copper mug.
Oh, the copper mug.
Oh, that sounds good.
There you go. Yeah. I almost bought a copper mug the other day, but I have a zinc one.
Copper mug.
My sister, not your wife, John, but my twin.
His other wife. No, your twin. Sorry, never mind.
My twin sister used to work for a.
Wait, I didn't know you had a twin. Okay, sorry. Go on.
Well, she worked for a liquor distributor, and she always got all this swag that she would give her family. And so I got some pure Tito's vodka copper mugs, and they're just sweet. They're heavy, and
nice.
Really upset when she left that position.
No more swag.
Yeah, and you got some clothing out of the deal too, right?
Yeah, well, I've got the black velvet Carhartt jacket that I don't get to wear anymore.
I have some black velvet underwear, but I don't think that was from swag. No, what? So you have a twin. Is she identical or
She's 20 minutes older than me and a fraternal twin.
fraternal? There you go.
That's the type.
Is there a paternal twin?
A paternal twin?
or maternal?
I am my own grandpa. Speaking of grandpa, so you're a third generation SDSU. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so Loritz, my grandfather, went there he graduated 1927 with a mechanical engineering degree and a civil engineering degree, which,
Wow.
of course, the Great Depression hit, so he went back and got his master's in math and taught and was a superintendent in, like, Arlington for a spell. Ended up in Winter, South Dakota.
Okay. What was your dad's name? He went there too?
Marlin Pete.
Marlin. These are good names. Good South Dakota names.
And he was a music major,
Oh.
band director. That's how Mary Jane and John met.
Oh, okay. Wait a minute. So John and his wife both have band director dads. Is that right?
That's right.
That's strange.
Yeah, it kind of is strange because it's almost like they could be brother and sister, but I don't.
A sister.
Hey, speaking of brothers and kissing their sisters, let's talk about Star Wars. No,
Good,
Oh.
good segue.
I'm the king of the segues. No, we don't have to talk about that right now. But Matt is a huge
We're ramping up. To
Matt is a huge Star Wars fan. Am I correct?
he's the biggest one. He's the biggest one I know.
The master says wrong. I am the biggest. Look how big I am. I'm a giant slug thing, and I love to eat slugs.
Your computer's all set up with like an imperial fonts and stuff like
When
that.
episode 7 was released, 2015, whatever date that was,
Star date.
there was the mass merchandising. And one of the things they came out with was, I think HP came out with a Star Wars branded computer with First Order stormtroopers on it and Darth Vader, and of course all the fonts, all the sounds that come off of it are Star Wars related. It's now in the background showing all the screensaver from Empire Strikes Back, and I basically watch Empire Strikes Back daily through stills on my saver.
That may have been the best movie. Do you think?
Easily the best movie.
I
Hoth
think so.
scenes have changed my life, and now that we're living Hoth here, it feels so.
Exactly.
We need the thing you cut open every now and then and sleep inside.
Oh, a tauntaun.
That's
yeah.
right. We need a tauntaun around here.
Your tauntaun will freeze before you reach the first marker, and you go, "I'll see you in hell." That's a great line.
That movie though, oh my God, when it ended, the way it ended, and we had to wait 7 or 8 years.
3 years is all.
It wasn't
wait.
7.
I thought that
It felt like 100 years we had to wait, and we had the action figures or whatever they call them, the dolls, and we had to reenact over and over and over again daily what we thought would happen. I don't know. It was a different time. We didn't have iPads.
Well, it's so obvious now. I was in the Luke is not Darth Vader's son club the entire time before Jedi came out. I was just adamant that there's no way that Vader could be his father. And then I come to learn in Jedi that they're father son, and you rewatch it now. I've seen it over 200 times, of course. How could I have been so stupid as an 11-year-old?
I was born on the dark side, so I got that.
Yeah, I am also a Star Wars fan. I'm just not on Matt's level. And, of course, I am more of a Star Trek fan, as everybody knows. However, I did, when Episode 4 New Hope, a.k.a. original Star Wars, came out, I believe my brother Rob and I saw it at least 12 times the summer it was released.
Well, what else were we going to do in Rapid City?
Yeah, it just the idea of seeing a first-run theatrical movie 12 times, this seems just nuts.
I don't think I saw it that many times, but I do remember back then you had to wait. You know, the lines would go around the block, and I don't know. It was a different time for sure.
Spent a lot of time at the Rapid Theater.
It was very exciting, though.
Played.
I mean,
and then I think our family went on vacation on a long road trip, and I think we saw it once or twice on the road too, because we just needed something to do apparently. But
you were in Kalispell or something.
And it was in the theater for a year and a half too, so
it was there for a long time.
Oh yeah,
yes.
yeah, that's right.
Stuff really, the big hits stuck around a long time.
I forgot about that. Yeah, you're lucky if you get a few days now with some movies.
Yeah, even the big like Disney Marvel movies are only out. What are they there for a month maybe if they're really huge?
Yeah, and then they'll go to the cheap theaters, and nobody wants to go to them because they're just
they're sticky.
They're almost on video by that point.
They're sticky.
Yeah, it's true. And Phil, where do you fall on the Star Wars fandom scale?
Guys, I know you guys were setting up sort of a Star Wars versus Star Trek thing, and to be honest, when I was younger, if I had to pick between the two, it was Star Wars. Because really, I remember seeing Star Trek, but I think I probably watched more of the Star Trek animated series, and it was so boring. But
see, I never watched that when I was young, and they're almost unwatchable for me now. Even though
not the animation,
even though they have some of the same writers and most of the original cast does voices for them. Except for some reason, James Doohan does like 10 different voices in every episode. It's really bad.
I wonder if that would be better just to listen to, because the animation is so crude.
Yeah, it was that Filmation El Cheapo.
Only one part moves in a certain scene, like when the voice moves, nothing moves in the background.
Yeah, exactly.
And the person standing still for like 5 minutes while their mouth sort of moves.
Yeah. So you get good voiceover talent because the animation is so shitty.
At least in the Flintstones, they'd run and stuff. But I mean, yeah.
Oh, I think the Flintstones was relatively high end compared to Filmation.
They'd go past the same like end table 100 times while he's chasing Barney for hitting on Wilma or whatever happened. I don't know. I was actually more of a Twilight Zone guy, so I'm going to introduce a third, and I'm going to call that sci-fi. So there, but I was more of a Twilight Zone guy. If I had to pick a TV show, oh wait, now see Star Wars. Okay, well, Star Wars was on TV, the Christmas special,
the holiday special.
Can you defend that? Can you defend that one?
Can I defend this Christmas? Well, it introduced Boba Fett, so it will always.
Oh, really?
There was a cartoon short in the Christmas.
Oh no,
right.
That was cool. The cartoon short was pretty cool. I remember that introduced Boba Fett for the first time.
Yes.
Wow. So did Boba Fett have sex with B. Arthur? No, that was something different.
No, that was.
See, I'm surprised. That show has famously been unreleased since George Lucas announced that he wanted to destroy it, and.
It's the Song of the South.
It's exactly like the Song of the South with Disney, and that's another one.
You could get it in Japan.
Yeah, that's the one market they released it in. I think
they love it there.
He says, "I'm big in Japan. I'm big everywhere."
No, the holiday special, was famously
holiday
was only
Christmas.
available because apparently 6 people or something nationwide saved VHS tapes of it.
Well, and they put them on YouTube all the time. They get taken down, but you can always find it. So.
Oh yeah, I've had a copy of it forever, and actually the best parts of it are the cartoon sequence and the ads.
Now, okay, I haven't seen this for probably I don't know how many years, but maybe since it came out. But I remember that animated special, the animated sequence was pretty cool, wasn't it? I mean, what was Boba Fett like riding some sort of ostrich-like reptile thing, or am I confusing it with a different movie?
I don't think he was. I think.
No, okay, never mind. My memory is not.
They should just release that part of it. And, I understand why they're embarrassed by it. But at this point, everybody knows about it, and they might as well make some money on it and reissue it. Because people would still buy it.
The Star Wars Special Edition. Christmas special. Now in 3D B. Arthur.
The only problem, one of the main problems with it, didn't they kind of make the Chewbacca, the Wookiees, kind of like Ewoks or something? Weren't they kind of like, I don't know. I think they could have made it a lot better. I think that the delving into what the life of a Wookiee.
Life Day.
Right. Yeah, that was Wookiee Life Day. It was the Christmas special.
That could have been pretty cool.
Yeah, well, they was it episode 2 and episode 3 that they went back to Kashyyyk and kind of showed you more of what the Wookiee life was like. They were supposed to be in episode 6, Jedi, but they didn't want to. I don't think they had the budget to do that, so they cut them in half and called them Ewoks.
Hey, half price. Oh well.
So, Matt, do you find that Return of the Jedi holds up today relatively well, or I find parts of it are pretty annoying today, and parts of it are still really good.
So you're talking just Jedi itself?
Just Jedi, the one film.
Well, of course, besides the slave scene that we would never be able to watch today.
Exactly.
That I still love that part of it. But as far as the
whoops, sorry, I shouldn't have made a Jabba the Hutt sound.
He forgot to introduce his 3 dogs.
Zeus is kind of a Jedi fan, so when you start talking bad about it, he gets a little bit upset.
No trash talking.
If I use Jabba the Hutt's voice, look out.
He doesn't like weird noises, but there's something outside right now. I wouldn't worry too much about him. I think Jedi holds up. I haven't actually watched it all the way through in a good long time. The scenes,
that's me too. Actually,
are good. The blowing up the Death Star. Now, I hate the additions to it as far as what George Lucas did in the mid '90s with adding another
the special editions.
Reworking, introducing Han Solo, and the song "Jedi Rocks" from the special edition to Jedi is just awful.
Well, that replaced Numbnuts, right? The other song that was originally there.
Boy,
with the Numbnuts, got Numbnuts.
Yub Nub, whatever. There's another song that they introduce at the end while they're playing the skulls of the stormtroopers that they killed.
That's right. I forgot about that.
But that's kind of dark. That was fun. I think Numbnuts is way better than the other thing. That New Age thing.
Yeah, there's all that. Yeah, no. Is Jedi Rocks the one in
Jabba's palace?
Jabba's Palace. Yeah, that's the other song they replaced.
Oh, I don't remember that. The ending song was like what was it, Yanni or something? I don't know. Somebody.
What they do is they go through all these Coruscant and basically topple the Emperor's statue, and it just got weird, And then they, when they reintroduced later on in another scene, they introduced Hayden Christensen's Anakin over Sebastian Shaw's. Not Sebastian Shaw's. That's
that's the guy, isn't it? Who when they pull off the mask, that's him.
The guy from Jaws.
No. Robert Shaw is the guy from Jaws.
Right, Schneider.
A good addition to Star Wars.
Yeah, that would be interesting. You're right, and that's why I like to have the despecialized editions, as people are probably aware.
So I made a habit of collecting every edition up while they were on VHS. So I've got from the first editions that came out, I've got about 7 VHSs of each.
Wow.
Gotten rid of them.
That sounds about right. They and each one was very slightly different in some way.
Say, John, what was that fan edit or whatever that?
The Phantom edit.
There was maybe.
Menace.
Are you talking about the despecialized version?
Maybe. But somebody went through the first three and then made their own edit and print. Like maybe it's a despecialized version, but so it was a
okay. So just a quick, the
wasn't Martin
despecialized
Scorsese.
version is this project that they basically went to recreate the original theatrical cuts, and but of course the only good quality versions of them are the Blu-rays and things like that, which have all the stuff replaced. So they took that and they edited in older copies in the scenes that have been changed.
Oh, so they kind of tried to make it more like the theatrical releases.
Yeah, so there's that, and then there's all these weird projects. There's a there's a web forum if you really want to jump in and go crazy with it, called I think originaltrilogy.net or something like that. And there are all these fan projects, and another one is that people got really good 35 millimeter prints of the original movies and scan them in,
right,
and make those available.
Oh man,
along with all the different soundtrack options, all the George Lucas commentaries from the laser discs and the other versions that came out before, and make these kind of uber editions that have everything in them, and you know, some of them look really good. They've done some really good work, and every so often you hear rumors that now Disney, since they own it, are going to come out with pristine theatrical versions and all that stuff, but nothing so far has come out.
Star Wars Gold or something.
Because Lucas himself was very opposed to doing that when he created the special editions. He kept wanting to revise them, and some people even prefer the 97 special editions, which went to the theaters, to the ones that came out in the early 2000s.
Oh man,
because there are differences there too. Because he kept at it after 97 as well.
He kept making it worse. Is that what you're saying?
Well, he kept well, this scene, you know, I want to redo the effects in this scene.
Oh yeah,
blah blah blah.
The effects had reached where he wanted them to be, but then the effects weren't there in 2000 yet either. So they looked Last Starfighter-ish.
Yeah, right. Yeah, they look really crummy, you know, and I just in principle, I kind of don't like the whole, let's go back and keep revising it idea, because, you know, I think once it's released, that ought to be it.
Yeah.
But
sometimes there's a
that he
director's
doesn't
cut, though. That's okay.
He doesn't have. I mean, he has the right to do it, I guess.
Not now.
Not now.
Not anymore. No. So I keep waiting. I bet before we all croak, they're probably going to release the original version in some form.
What was that other movie he did? I think it was his first movie. Was it like it had like I8?
Oh,
I8
THX 1138.
I812. No, what was it?
THX 1138.
Mm-hmm.
That had Robert Duvall in it, didn't it?
Yes, it did actually.
I need to see that again. I haven't seen that for 100 years.
Well, if you guys watch bad movies, that's probably one to put on the list.
Well, if we're willing to sit through Zardoz, I think we can do that one.
Oh,
yeah, that's crazy. So I think the reason. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say who is. I've forgotten the main character's name of the new series. Ren? No. Ray. You know, there was a lot of speculation about her lineage and her parents and that sort of thing, and it was kind of similar to the first round. It was like, oh, is Luke Darth Vader's, you know, that kind of thing. What's your theory on that one?
Well, of course, in Episode 8, Kylo basically said there were nothing to Rey.
But he's a big liar.
And that's the whole conspiracy thing that they have, that Snape is basically trying to pull strings. Of course, now Snape's dead.
Snoke.
Snape is Harry Potter.
Harry Potter. Whoops.
Now there's a crossover.
Wrong franchise.
No, Disney owns them all, don't they?
No, Harry Potter.
No, AT&T now owns Harry Potter.
Disney needs to buy Harry Potter because we need a Star Wars Harry Potter crossover with Marvel.
Actually, yeah, well, they're talking about that too, because they're going to make Brie Larson a Jedi or something like that. I was just reading.
No, that's corporate synergy.
Captain Marvel's going to cross over. No,
I don't know. I'm all about the new Dune movie. That there's a little bit of a crossover
God.
with the.
Yeah, hold that thought. Yeah,
There's a character, an actor from Star Wars, more recent ones, is going to supposedly be in the new Dune movie. Anyway,
I actually like the whole idea that Rey is not related to these other people and not special. I think that's more interesting.
I like that too, because why do you have to have all the lineage to Skywalkers? And this is supposed to be the end of the Skywalker story. So let's make her not a Skywalker and be able to move her onto the next group.
but man, she's so
Right, I
powerful.
agree.
She's got to be related to one of them.
Why did the Skywalker?
No, but supposedly isn't, if you go back to the original spoken definition of the Force, it's this surrounds all living things in the universe and everything. It doesn't. They never said it's flows in one family only, or like it's some royal blood thing.
There are two families. So what? So what is it? Was like the Skywalkers, but what was the other? What was Kenobi all about? He didn't have a different family or anything. I think maybe
he was trained by Qui-Gon Jinn and just came up from nothing. They haven't explored his background yet, and there is still talk of them doing a background story on him, just like they did Solo. But since Solo did so poorly in the box office,
yeah, they'll come around again.
I think PJ, one of my kids, liked Solo all right, but I haven't seen it yet because I just heard about it. Had some trouble.
It's worth watching. It's okay.
I've seen it 3 times now, and I can enjoy every aspect of it. There's a lot of alluding into it from the previous movies, and you can even go into the prequels with some of it. I think it's fun, and Emilia Clarke's in it. If you like Game of Thrones, she's real good in this movie. So
I think the only thing was the main actor. I don't know if people were trying to compare him to Harrison Ford or something, but it's just a different thing.
The more you read about Harrison Ford and his feelings about Star Wars, I don't think that he's nothing to get real behind if you're a Star Wars nut. It's like he was cool as Han Solo, but he's pretty much just an actor in it for the bucks.
I think that's right.
Starbucks.
You got to be real about that.
Starbucks. No, that'd be
oh, that's something different.
Battlestar Galactica.
So Battlestar Galactica was better than both of these.
Easy fella.
Well,
it's basically the same movie or the same thing.
It's the Star Wars / Mormons. That's what that one is.
I think we can all agree that the Black Hole was the best out of all of these.
I'm embarrassed to say I watched that recently.
I don't know if I've seen that one.
Well, it's on my Plex. You should watch it.
I will.
No, or don't.
I'm curious
because a lot of it is awful.
I'm trying to remember if I even saw it. I don't know if watching it again would help me remember.
Well, my brother and I saw it in the theater, and I think we were the only people in the theater. It was such a flop, and it was not good. I don't know. The actors in it, I mean, it's got some okay actors. I mean, actually, it's got Maximilian Schell.
Well, yeah,
really good,
what the heck? You can't go around with that.
He's great, but, it's really, everybody in it is just kind of like, I know this movie sucks. I'm going to read my lines and blah, blah, blah.
Where's my check?
The worst thing is, Anthony Perkins is in it.
What?
Yeah, no, he plays this scientist guy, and he is the most boring piece of shit you can imagine. He just doesn't care.
That reminds me a little bit of... I was so excited about the Star Trek movie that Malcolm McDowell was in. Mm-hmm. I don't know what number, whatever. But
that's Star Trek Generations. Yeah.
Oh, that was the crossover one. And
yeah, I actually like that movie better than it probably deserves. There are things about it I just kind of enjoy, but it's definitely got huge flaws.
Well, they could have used Malcolm McDowell a little bit more. I mean, he was just kind of walking around the cliffs and looking to the side.
No. It's definitely got one of the best things about that movie.
the horse riding scene.
Yeah, when they rented William Shatner's ranch to shoot it. It's very, very Donald Trump-like, actually. this is a good opportunity to bring us back to the original thesis of this whole discussion.
Although I probably need a break first.
Wrong.
Okay,
Is that all right?
So before you take your break,
Yes.
we're going to drop the question, though.
Which is better?
As children, were Star Wars or Star Trek fans more well-adjusted?
Oh, boy.
Wasn't that the question?
That was. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Be back in a little
All
bit.
right, let's take a minute
so stay
and
on the line.
refill.
Hello.
Hello.
I had to get my girls a treat and my guy.
They've been very polite.
Actually, the one has been climbing on me, Zeus, most of the time. He's a little bit of a needy puppy.
Hello?
You're back.
Yes, are you guys back?
I'm back.
Yeah.
I had to make sure my one of my kids wanted to show me their homework project, so I had to get. So okay, this Star Wars Star Trek thing, I'm going to try to distill both franchises into tiny sentences. So I think
Okay,
So
let's hear it.
before we get into this, which fans are more well adjusted? It seems like Star Wars and Star Trek. So Star Trek is Star Wars is good versus evil. There's a kind of a good, clear a good delineation, and then Star Trek is good, and the people that just don't know that they need to know better, or they don't know that well, or they need, it's like everybody's good in Star Trek. Maybe they just need some sort of a more cookies or something, or so. I don't know. That's my delineation.
Oh, okay. So my read of this, Phil, I'll give you my interpretation, is Star Wars by Lucas's own admonition
Admissions
is that it was basically based on old adventure stories
and Japanese
and mythology and
Japanese,
and of course the samurai cinema and things like that.
the power of myth.
Yeah, exactly. And Star Trek is, you're right, it does have that kind of, because it has a lot of metaphors for American foreign policy in the 1950s and 60s, which really kind of informs its writing. And it, especially because of the whole, we're going to go to foreign lands / alien planets and give them cookies, as you said, because they don't know any better. But there are definitely, so Gene Roddenberry originally pitched the show to the networks as Wagon Train to the Stars,
Sure.
which is supposed to be kind of a, exploring the wilds in space.
That's
like
more
a
like
Western kind
that's
of a
probably more ended up like the Serenity.
A little bit, yeah. It's funny.
What was the
that
name of
ended up
that?
like that?
What was
but,
the name of that show?
Firefly.
Yeah, right. All right.
But Star Trek, it was so funny because it was supposed to be a straight adventure exploration story like a Western, and of course Gene Roddenberry was a TV writer before Star Trek, and he wrote for Have Gun Will Travel and some other Westerns. And so that's kind of the way it started out in concept, but he really kind of decided to, make it more serious and moralistic and have sci-fi elements and try and get serious quote, serious science fiction writers in there.
It was kind of a
And that's
utopian sort of thing, too, more.
Yeah, and famously Roddenberry, had this weird futurist vision where there was no conflict and humanity had solved all its problems, and that's where all the Federation stuff comes up. And there's a lot of really, and of course he didn't invent all this stuff. It was definitely borrowed from other writers and things like that. But the big flaw in a lot of Roddenberry's ideas really manifested themselves in Star Trek: The Next Generation's early seasons,
Right.
where
You
there
can't
was
have a bad guy.
supposedly no conflict. Yeah, you can't have, but the humans and / Federation don't have any flaws, or they don't have personal problems.
Well, you can't be well adjusted watching that.
Well, and the thing is, I think if we get back to the well-adjusted thing, where Star Wars is a simple
allegory,
because well, yeah, I obviously really liked it. I still enjoy it. I have a lot of appreciation for it, but I think that it had a more clear-cut set of morals.
Yeah.
And Star Trek, growing up watching a lot of original series Star Trek, probably you were less how to put it, probably more disillusioned.
Yeah.
About the state of the world, because not everything worked out, and there were other intractable forces out there like the Klingons and other things. And in the original series, the Klingons were basically the colonialist bad guys, or things like that. Or you had these. It got very, very much into. Well, Kirk was always the quintessential American explorer, in that he could go into the society run by a computer, which is shorthand for communism, and he would convince them that they were wrong, and they would explode, literally.
and have sex with a few of the alien ladies.
Or of course, and have lots of because he's an American, he's getting all the ladies.
Well, okay, so hold on. So in a way, Star Trek probably was more realistic.
That's kind of the way I look at it.
Star Trek, in that sense, was probably more realistic, because the real world isn't so cut and dry. I don't know. What do you think, Nat?
Well, I look at it from, of course, we're all nerds if we like Star Wars versus Star Trek anyway, and we are having the conversation to begin with. Most jocks won't look at it and think, yeah, you're absolutely right. You have a really good point. Nobody's going to say that and not call you a nerd in the same sentence. What I was always looking at is kind of like what you were saying with the Star Trek being more literal. The nerds of Star Trek would take the things that they were using back then, and then they would actually try to manufacture them. Like, oh, we can make a phaser. Oh, we can make a tricorder. Oh, we can make a whatever dilithium crystal. We can make all this happen. This is generally the way things are going to happen. Whereas Star Wars was more not on a microscopic level. You would just say, oh, they traveled at light speed. Okay, that's fine. Nobody really knew how the machines worked, and nobody really cared how the machines worked. They just travel at light speed. Nobody really cared that there was a crystal that went inside of the lightsaber. This was back in the day, that made the lightsaber act up and work. It just worked. So the Star Wars people were more letting it go as fantasy, whereas the Star Trek people were trying to go, oh, we can make this. So growing up, we were able to just release Star Wars and go on with our lives, whereas the Star Trek people were just bent on making the phaser.
Well, and that gets into a lot of the political things aside, the science aspect of Star Trek, which the people who wrote for it thought was very important, and they want it to be science fiction. And not an adventure story or mythology or whatever that happened to take place with spaceships.
Yeah,
it's like you point out that it didn't matter how you got across the galaxy or what made the ships run in that thing, which is actually plays to a mistake that Lucas did, where he tried to explain what the Force is.
Right, that was the episode,
and that's a misstep
where they tried to get into too much technicalities of it. But I'm talking 4, 5, 6, where we could still make believe.
Yeah, the canonical original movies.
That's easy for you to say.
That succeeded well because they did not do that. Because if you try and interject those literal things or even politics into that world, it doesn't really work.
Here's another angle. I never, when I was a kid, I never played Star Trek. I mean, I play is evidently important in your development. So I'm not trying to take anybody's side here, but I think that if we did look at the two for a development sort of adjusted sort of thing, I played Star Wars a lot. We had all the figures. I mean, I don't know.
Oh, so did I actually.
Maybe I could have gotten a Spock figure. But what would you do with
we
that?
had way more. Of course, it helped that when we were growing up, the selection of Star Wars toys was 10 times better than anything you could get for Star Trek. But we had all the stuff.
There was a really cool documentary about the Star Wars toys thing. I don't remember what it was, but it was on Netflix, I think.
Netflix one that Toys That Ruled the World or Changed the World or something.
That was really cool.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh my God! That was really cool how they brought it in and how they tried to do it with Star Trek and just failed.
What are you going to do with Spock? I mean, he's only fun every 7 years.
Nice. No. Lucas really mastered he isn't given enough credit for the.
Oh my God!
The genius of his merchandising.
He was totally
I mean, when I was growing up, after the first movie came out, especially, I loved those toys, and I remember. I think our friend Lee had the really big Millennium Falcon toy.
Right. Blake got that one. My brother Blake.
That thing. I mean, it was expensive. I didn't have that. We had the action figures, but my dog ate the heads off them all, so. That was. I always remember that. I have some resentment for that golden retriever.
I think that's more why
who chewed off the heads.
That's probably why you're less well-adjusted, more than the fact that you like Star Trek.
It probably is. I mean, some of it is because the original series Star Trek was on all the time when I was at the right age. And the same thing with Rob and Eric, too, which is why we all bond about it. But it was there all the time. And plus, my dad liked it, too. And I think it was just, kind of hit us at the right time. So we have a big connection to the old show.
I think you probably connected to Star Wars younger, and then Star Trek a little older, right?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. Because the original Star Wars movie though just blew us all away though, because part of it was the effects, but it was just so damn fun.
Yeah, no, I remember the first time my kids watched the movies, and you kind of relive it through their eyes, and it's still magical. I don't know if I guess we watched the other ones too, but the prequels or whatever. But the original 3 or the 4, 5, 6 are very special.
Phil, since you have younger kids, which order did you watch them in?
Oh, we watched 4, 5, 6. I don't remember. The thing is, PJ got more into the Clone Wars animated series. I think he really associated with Anakin Skywalker, and so we had watched the movies too. But and I think that was kind of difficult for kids his age, because Anakin was the hero, but at the same time that, so maybe he's going to be less well adjusted than anybody. So I'd have to say Star Trek people are more well adjusted. No. But because the Anakin Skywalker character is really interesting. It's that transition or whatever. I think that was, I don't know. I think that was problematic probably for kids.
Looking in the 2000s now, when you're building his whole backstory, but as we're kids growing up, we're Darth Vader's evil, and he didn't make himself good until the end of Jedi,
right.
Then
you kind of had to go back to, I remember PJ was having problems with it a little bit, and I was like, well, remember Return of the Jedi, it's all good. I didn't say it quite like that, but it's probably the most interesting story arc. They seemed in Star Wars universe, they seem to really be focusing on Boba Fett more and more. It sounds like what they want to do with movies. It sounds like they want to explore the Boba Fett thing more. Is Boba Fett the dad of all the clones? Is that right?
Boba Fett is not the dad. Jango Fett was basically the dad of the clones. Boba was
Jango Unchained.
Was a clone that didn't have his timeline sped up, where all these other clones were basically aged so fast to become this army right away. Boba was aged. He was aged at a regular rate. So he was raised as Jango's son.
Okay.
Jango get his head cut off by Samuel L. Jackson, and changed his whole life and wanted
Motherfucker!
Motherfucker. Yes.
You didn't say that though.
Wanted to avenge his dad's death, basically, and that'll be the entire Boba movie, hopefully, about him working up to that. There's a series coming out when the Disney Channel app comes out called
Disney
The Mandalorian, which will basically look at a different Mandalorian than Jango Fett, and I can't remember playing him. But
I seem to remember that had a pretty interesting cast too. But
it should be very interesting how they look at that, because it'll be more of an Old West style. Because there'll be a lot of, sure, he's a good guy, bounty hunter style, but he'll have a lot of conflicts as well.
Oh, that's straight out of Clint Eastwood or something. It's perfect.
Well, you could just dust off all the old scripts from those and outer space. And
well, some of these stories are just kind of retold, whether they were started out with samurai stories or whatever, or westerns, or they kind of.
Lone Ranger holds up today. They're fun to watch.
The Lone Ranger?
The Lone Ranger. Maybe not the Tonto part of it, but...
Well, there was some controversy about the... I didn't see the movie when they came out with the Johnny Depp.
Oh, the Johnny Depp one was terrible.
Was it bad?
No.
The Armie Hammer? What's his name? He was just so...
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
You remember the one that when we were probably 1982, 1981 with The Legend of the Lone Ranger? That was a decent one.
Oh, I'm sure I've seen that, but wow. That wasn't when... I think that was at the same time that Zorro the Gay Blade came out, wasn't it?
With George Hamilton.
So I probably went to that one instead. No, I don't know. He was probably the best Colonel Sanders, though. So what? Speaking of reboots, no, yeah, RoboCop is the new Colonel Sanders.
What's going on with that? That's an interesting one. That's better than the Reba McEntire one.
Oh, I don't know. That was fun too, but you haven't seen the RoboCop.
I've seen 2 RoboCop ones now. That make me want to go to KFC, but I can only go every 6 months because of my digestive system.
Well, I don't remember. I remember when KFC, that was a big treat to go to that when I was a kid. And I don't know when the last time I went to KFC was. But I kind of crave it every now. And they had such good coleslaw. And that weird watery mashed potatoes and gravy substitute or whatever. I don't know. I have a nostalgic connection to that.
Yeah, and we tend to, we've transitioned over to food now apparently, but we tend to, if we want that kind of stuff, we go to Popeyes, which is different.
Yeah, I don't know. Do they have a Popeyes in Worthington though?
No, but you do have a KFC. And I have.
But you have a Taco John's, so you're really good.
We've got Taco John's, KFC. We don't have a Hardee's anymore. We got McDonald's, Burger King, Arby's, Jimmy John's. And that's a town of 12,000 people, so
yeah,
that's not doing too bad.
You've got not bad. No, and you've got a ground round, which not many people have anymore.
We've got that going for us.
Oh, but do you have a Bonanza?
I wish we did, man. The cheese on that salad bar was something else.
Say, salad bars.
Bonanza. There you go.
Speaking of salad bars, is Gregory near Chamberlain or not?
60 miles due south of Chamberlain.
Okay, all right. So you probably have been to Al's Oasis. John was just at Al's Oasis on a little road trip there. So I thought we could talk about Al's Oasis a little bit, but I don't know what I would say. I do remember that huge salad bar.
You know, it's not as huge as you might remember.
No, I was smaller.
I hope they have Clantouine patty frogs on the salad bar.
No, they still have the buffalo burgers,
Buffalo burgers,
coffee,
sure.
and the apple pie and cinnamon ice cream. And that's actually the best thing.
Well, I remember
It's really pretty good.
I remember I was flirting with in college. I think I was trying not to eat as much meat or be a vegetarian or something. And I remember the salad bar was really big back then. I think. I don't know.
I think at the time it seemed big. I have a lot of memories for that place because it was my family stopped there sometimes to eat, but also a lot of band trips.
Yeah.
Would stop there
It's basically
on the way to or from
South Dakota, and when the speed limit was 55, it took 7 hours to get across the state.
Right.
That was a perfect stopping point.
No, it was, and there wasn't much else there at the time.
No, there's a lot of other gas stations and whatever else.
Oh yeah, they have more stuff, and the place had a small grocery store and a gift shop, and
Yeah. Oh, and
it was a bigger deal.
And the statues out front.
Did they have statues out front back then?
No, like we'll cut that pause out. No, the or I'll add cricket.
Or put some crickets in there.
No, they had like don't they have a buffalo and I don't think they have a jackalope. It's not like Wild Drug, but they have a few statues out there. Kids could take a picture with or ride the.
God, I forget. I guess I missed that. Maybe they're not there anymore.
Oh, I remember those.
But, the restaurant is almost the same as it was, though.
No, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
And when we were there, I had one of the great classic cuisines, the Indian taco.
Oh yeah,
Rye bread. Oh,
yeah, fry bread. It was, but although it's a flat piece of fry bread with the stuff piled on top of it.
More like a
So it's
tortilla?
almost a taco salad with fry bread underneath.
I remember fry bread being pretty thick in the hills.
This was good. I'm not gonna lie. It was really good.
No, I love.
Yeah, my
Indian
mother-in-law
tacos
and
are
I
great.
both order the Indian taco.
No, I would too. I'd probably get a buffalo burger too.
it'd be tough not to order the Indian taco.
It was good. Yeah, I had that and the apple pie.
What goes better with an Indian taco than apple pie?
Exactly.
They're both different kinds of American. So you grew up. I don't know if South Dakota Proud toured Gregory or not. We went to almost every town in South Dakota, but I don't know if I've been to Gregory. What was your experience growing up in Gregory, South Dakota?
On the 4th of July, we had a carnival. But
They still do, don't they?
oh yeah, every 4th of July
Yeah.
there's a carnival. That's when the class reunions happen, and it's basically the time to avoid Gregory if you're have gotten out by any means. But
The traffic gets kind of bad.
no, just the people that come into town for the carnival is just
It's like Mardi Gras. Do the ladies of Gregory show things to get beads?
So you've been there.
Oh, we throw buffalo burgers at the people. No, so.
It was a great town to grow up in. I've got fond memories, even being the non-athlete nerd type. It seemed like everybody got along. The band, because Dad had built such a good program, was probably 85% of the school. So
Wow.
if you're in band, you're automatically kind of accepted as one of the cool kids anyway.
That's an amazing percentage. Actually.
Wow.
It was something. We took a trip every 4 years to somewhere like Los Angeles when I was in school, or Florida. It was a juggernaut that Dad had built, and
That's really cool.
being in band director's son would be probably like being a preacher's son in Alabama. You had a lot of special rights that you wouldn't normally have. That's you just kind of your God-given right. So I enjoyed my time there, and I did work in a grocery store, so I always had access to all the fine foods and stuff.
And I will say, as a latecomer to that place, it's fun to go back there and visit because it's really the small town experience.
It really hasn't changed, John, since I left. I can go back and basically go back in time and enjoy everything about it. You can go for a run in the early morning and just basically see the same things that you saw, maybe a little bit more dilapidated than.
I can't say the same thing about Rapid City.
Oh, that's changed so much.
It's different.
It's no rocket slide.
Gregory is just a little more geographically isolated.
Sure.
So that makes a difference.
It's frozen in time.
The thing you get there is that so many people know each other in that town.
It's good and bad.
Well, I guess, yeah, and so you'll be hanging out there and at your mother-in-law's house, and just somebody will randomly walk in and just like, "Hey, how's it going?" Rah, 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 rah.
You must.
Well, come on, have a cup.
Okay, hey, John, how you doing? So it's like you were there your entire life.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
it was your business.
That's kind of cool, though.
It's really fun.
Yeah, it's like I think you alluded to. It's a really nice place to visit now. But you sure?
Yeah, I enjoy
there.
it. I really do.
I don't know. Rapid City's changed so much over the years, though. It's not even the same thing. It's
most of it is not.
It's there are parts of it that still maybe tweak a certain memory, but it's changed a lot.
And speaking of Rapid City, I've got a piece of follow-up from my mother, who apparently listened to one of our episodes. And I'm referring to her as Deb Del Rey Knowles.
No, Del Rey.
Because her favorite restaurant was Casa Del Rey.
Oh,
Ooh.
in Rapid City.
Departed. Yeah, that was her favorite. She was so sad when they sold out and it became a Walgreens. There's still one in Sioux Falls, but it's not the same.
No.
By the way,
she maintains that the trap shoot game that we talked about long ago was not only at Happy Joe's but also at Shakey's.
I don't remember that.
And I don't either, but she swears it was at both places.
It wasn't at Casa Del Rey, though.
No.
Well, maybe. I mean, why
Casa Del
not?
Rey.
You know, why wouldn't every place like that have a trap shoot back then? But I don't remember that.
It could be.
I just remember the banjo guy and sing-alongs. And
Yeah. At some point, we're going to have my older brother Bruce come on because he apparently listens now.
Oh.
And he'll talk about because he worked at Shakey's
Oh, really?
at some point.
Oh, man.
So he'll have some stories about that. So for all you Shakey's fans, you can have that to look forward to.
That may have been one of our most listened to episodes. I think we probably had,
we peaked.
49 downloads or something instead of 48. But whatever.
I'll take a download.
After eating at Shakey's. Well, all right. So what, have you guys moved on to second beverages?
yeah. While we had our first break, I just made another mule.
All right.
I just poured more of the bourbon.
No, I just had.
So I'm in the kitchen.
I'm in the kitchen. John's in the kitchen. Why don't you make up some
My
fiddles?
lovely wife is downstairs working. So.
Well, I'm alone, so I got free reign of the house.
Yeah, it's just you and the four animals.
Me and the four animals. I only know where three of them are right now.
Do you have three dogs and what? An iguana?
No, my niece is an iguana, actually. She made the change when she was 8 years old. There's another story there. No, I have a cat, a little black cat.
You have a cat and three big dogs.
Yep.
That cat probably can hold their own.
The cat's fine. The cat's he's the second oldest in the family, so he had established himself by the time the two little ones came in.
Oh, cats.
You want to share all of their names for us?
Zeus, I
I'm
heard.
looking at Xena right now. She's my oldest. She's 8. And Zeus is about ready to climb up on me. He's my youngest. He's 2. Zoe is 5. She's
See a pattern.
yes. And my cat Zonda, I haven't seen him actually since Beck left. So I assume.
Well, we saw him. We stopped through and visited and fed him, and he came out.
All right.
Well, yeah, Matt was in New Zealand.
He was alive then.
Matt was in New Zealand where they filmed Lord of the Rings.
I lived there for 2 years, Phil, and took home the ultimate souvenir.
Nice.
a wife. But do you think about ever? I mean, you visit there, of course, but do you think about ever moving back?
If things work out, I think we'll retire there in
Sure.
The 20 some odd years or whatever it takes. The wife a little bit younger than I am, but right now to live in Auckland though for a similar house than what we're into, because we live in a 3,000 square foot house here overlooking the lake. This would be over 1.3 million in Auckland when they make about the same money as us.
Oh.
So that's why we're living here right now, because we can afford to go and visit
Yeah.
New Zealand anytime we want, and still live in the life that we become a comfort to. 200 pairs of shoes like anybody has. Whereas we could probably only own like 20 pairs of shoes if we lived in New Zealand and not get to visit the States.
Oh, you could have one pair of shoes in New Zealand. Just get those nice boots. That's more Australian, I guess. But
actually, there's New Zealand Uggs and Australian Uggs, and there is a difference, so I'm told.
Okay. Well, I wonder what it is.
Well, I'm sure it's the wool itself, because when we're lamb, my wife Bex swears she can tell the difference between New Zealand lamb and Australian lamb, and definitely American lamb.
I think they both taste very similar with mint.
It's very rich no matter what you do. And you can only stand to eat maybe 8 ounces at a time, whereas if you're eating beef, you can probably do a 16, 24-ounce steak if you're really hungry.
Ribeye. All right, I have nothing else. I don't think we did. I don't think we decided who was. I guess the Star Wars kids are more well-adjusted. Is that right?
Oh, I think that's probably true.
Because they play with dolls.
Yeah.
My sample size might be a little bit small, but if I'm judging myself against everybody else, I think I'm better adjusted than anybody.
No, I don't know.
Well, who wants to be well-adjusted?
Exactly. As I say.
No, Phil, the Twilight Zone is not really a science fiction show.
No, I know. I just had. I was. I'm going to throw it in there. Well, what is it then?
Are you going to watch the new one that's coming out?
I probably don't get whatever it's on. Is it on Prime?
No,
or
it's
something?
on that stupid CBS.
It's on CBS app, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just like Star Trek Discovery.
I would like to watch. The first story I ever submitted to when I was going to be a writer, I submitted a story to the Twilight Zone magazine. I was a subscriber to the Twilight Zone magazine, and they had a contest, and they didn't really base it on age. Otherwise, maybe I would have done a little better. But I was just a kid. But that was my first rejection letter I got from an actual publisher. I don't know. I should have kept it. Maybe that's kind of cool in a way.
Well, they actually read it though. That's actually something. They didn't just toss it.
Well, my dad was like, they really should have this based on age because you're competing with people that are, whatever. But I don't know. So the Twilight Zone, what genre is that then? Because it touches on the same. Because Rod Serling was using the same kind of ideas that Roddenberry was with exploring morality, of course, in using this. But if you don't say, hey, it's a human doing this. Then it's not.
It's all allegory.
Yeah, there's a little distance there, and you can kind of get those same ideas across without upsetting more conservative members of the TV viewing audience. But so you don't consider it sci-fi, but what is it? It's not fantasy.
Allegory is allegory fantasy.
Okay, sure.
I honestly don't think you can't call it not sci-fi. I mean, okay, double negative. I think.
No, a lot of it.
If you're bringing everything down into simple categories of, drama, action, sci-fi, or whatever the categories on Netflix are, you're going to find it under sci-fi.
I guess because they got into alternate.
It really depends on the episode.
It wasn't right, and it wasn't that sciencey. I mean, it was nowhere near as sciencey as Star Trek. But Star Wars wasn't really that sciencey either.
I think that would be more sci-fi.
Well, okay. I don't know. Sometimes you were on another planet.
Phil, can I ask you?
No, totally.
Do you have a favorite episode of Twilight Zone?
Oh, geez. Wow, I should have prepared for this one. No.
Time enough at last.
Keeps on coming to mind the Burgess Meredith one, right?
Well, that one.
Yep.
That one is the quintessential Twilight Zone episode. I mean, the William Shatner one's pretty funny looking back at it too.
The gremlin on the side of the bus.
Nightmare at 30,000 feet.
I don't think that one was my favorite. There's one where see, I don't have them all memorized and I can't quote them all, but there was one where somebody went back to a small town, I think of their childhood or something.
It sounds like this podcast.
And nobody.
Yes, I know the
The
one you're
soda
talking
fountain
about.
one or something like that? Did they go to a soda fountain right away? Or
And there was nobody in the town or something? I don't know. That was pretty cool.
Well, are you talking about the one where the military guy is like all by himself in a town and it turns out he's being experimented on?
Oh.
Because that's like the original pilot. Now there's another one where there's this guy like he walks. It's called Walking Distance. If you
Yeah.
look it up. That's the name of the show.
Like 10 miles
Yep, that's the one you're thinking.
Okay.
And he like goes back to his childhood.
Right.
That one is great.
Okay. Well, I probably liked them both, but I think I'm thinking more of the
Yeah.
second one.
Yeah, they're both great episodes actually. And then there's another one that's I always ticks out is the one where like it's called The Howling Man.
Yeah.
Seen that one?
Yeah.
That's the one where like this guy goes into this castle and there's this guy being kept locked up who turns out to be the devil.
All right.
It's really good. Yeah.
There were some really dumb ones too.
No, I like the Twilight Zone too. Although I came to it very late for some reason I never saw it when I was young.
I think you probably more like the pinball game than.
It is one of the great pinball games, but yeah.
All right. Well, so there. That's about it, isn't it? What was the restaurant that Matt was talking about? Is it a place in Gregory, or is it? There's some restaurant that Matt you referred to on. Hey, you guys should talk about this or something. Oh God. Hey, I did some research on this one. No, what?
Happy Joe's, that's the place I was thinking of. There's one of those in Mankato, right?
I don't know about that.
Oh, you mean
but
today?
There's one in New Ulm.
Mankato's got a Happy Joe's, doesn't it?
Are they like more the? Well, there is still a Happy Joe's, I think, in Rapid City, but I think it's more one of those casino things. I don't think it's
Poker Joe's.
Poker Joe's.
Well, I think you might be right. I'm looking it up.
I don't know, but Hooky Snakes was.
It says it's closed.
Oh, that's because they didn't have the casino birthday parties. The big red light would come on. Woo!
Okay.
All right.
So apparently there used to be one in Mankato.
All right. Well, it still has the sign up. 'Cause I think of you guys every time I go through there.
So there was a place in Rapid that on band trips you went to get hookers.
Yes,
hooker shows.
I mentioned before because I traveled with my father, and he wanted to introduce me to the life
Sure. Of a band director.
which involves prostitutes, like constantly.
Would you like to see what I do with my baton? No. Anyway, that's a great opening line that the band directors have used in time memoriam.
The dawn of time. Yeah.
Baton.
Okay.
Check out my baton.
On that note, I'm not going to write a song about my baton. Maybe.
Oh, hey, I wanted to mention to you guys. I don't know if my mom's ever going to listen to this, but
I wonder if you brought this
the
up.
song from last time where I'm not much good anymore was
Yep.
changed my life. That was great.
Oh, well, I don't. I'm guessing you're exaggerating, but
What's hilarious about that song is that there's a reference in there about the school board.
Yes.
And we didn't. Apparently, she is not going to be in the school board next time around, and we didn't know that when we wrote the lyrics.
No, John had just mentioned that she had been on the school board, and so it got.
Now.
Yeah.
Great.
No, she needed to have a song.
I think so.
Well, guys, it's been really fun.
Thanks, Matt.
This has been a hoot.
Yes, that's the way I'd put
Not
it.
a hoot and Andy, but a hoot.
A hoot and a half.
A hoot and a half. A hoot and a half. That's a good. Okay. Anyway, God bless. And I guess Star Wars people are more well adjusted. Okay, so we figured that one out.
It's settled.
Good night.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Well, good talking to you, folks.
Here's the song.
Lift off and the clock is started.
Roger, 0G, and I feel fine.
Star Wars versus Star Trek. All I know is they're both whack. The Falcon versus Enterprise, Ewoks versus Tribbles. All I know is there'll be trouble. The geeks and the nerds will have it out. No sleep tonight, so scream and shout. All hopped up on Mountain Dew. Kenobi versus Spock and the crew. You can't put your lightsaber on stone, but the Vulcan nerve pinch is lots of fun. But what about Kirk versus Picard? Why your questions have to be so hard? OMG, he is a Borg. Well, at least my ship isn't filled with porg. Porg. Riker versus Solo, Q versus Sith, Lucas versus Roddenberry. Have fun with this. Ew. Number 1. Here is a number 2. Star Wars versus Star Trek. Captain's log. Wiggity back.
He is a Borg. I am your father.
Wiggity whack. Star Wars versus Star Trek. Wiggity whack. Star Wars versus Star Trek. Wiggity